He mercs hard for the money, so you'd better treat him right. Welcome everyone to a game that has been always very, very fun to me, and that is Mercs. The specific version that I'm doing here comes from the Sega Genesis, and it's going to be divided into a couple of parts. The first part being the arcade mode, which was the translation from, well, the arcade, and the second part being the misnamed original mode, which is a special mix-up version, not mix-up, designed for the Sega Genesis, which adds on several different levels, new weapons, new characters, and some RPG elements. Now, during the course of these videos, I waxed philosophically about some things in the Mercs backstory and some things in the Mercs universe. And I'm wondering now exactly how accurate the things I was saying are. I'm perfectly willing to admit when I've made a mistake, and this is kind of my way of making up for it and settling the doubts. What I am going to do, since there was too much editing really to fix what was said in the videos, I'm going to let that stand, just take it with a grain of salt, and after the arcade and original mode videos have played, I am going to be including a special trivia video, which I call The Mysteries of Mercs. Yes, this is going to go into 3 specific things that I have wondered over the years of playing this, as I often tend to get these ideas in my head and won't get rid of them until I find a satisfactory answer. So I hope this is something people will enjoy as well. But let me go ahead and give you a preview of what exactly these are going to be. Number 1, where exactly is Mercs taking place? Now, in every mode other than the Sega Genesis, there is only the arcade mode, which is a nation in Central Africa that has rebellion going on. So there are numerous clues that I've been sifting through that I think has allowed me to narrow it down significantly, but I will get to that later, and we will find out if indeed the fictional nation of Zutula actually had a real-life counterpart, or an XP, if it was an XP of something, I should say. And as for the original mode, the nation of Kira is specifically said to be in the Caribbean somewhere. So I did a little looking into that, and I think I might have that mystery solved too. So that will be number 1, and that leads actually nicely into mystery number 2. Who is the former president who has been kidnapped and is in need of rescue? Well, the interesting thing is mystery number 1 ties in a couple of ways to this one, and I'm pretty sure I know who it is. So I'm going to let the speculation linger, and I don't remember if I actually said who I believed it was in the video, but I will leave it to the trivia Mysteries of Mercs video in order to give my final answer. And finally, we have the third mystery of Mercs. Who exactly is our protagonist? There seems to be some dispute as to this man's identity. Originally, I referred to him as Thomas Clark, but there is a possibility, and actually a strong one, that this might actually be Joseph Gibson, aka Super Joe, from the Commando game. It's a little bit nebulous, partially because of all the different versions of Mercs, and also partially because of seeming errors in Capcom's wiki. But I will get into the heart of this, and I will find out exactly who it is and ask the real Super Joe to please stand up. So these are the mysteries of Mercs that I will be exploring. As you can tell, I have a lot of love for the game, and I hope by the time the video is done you all have as good an appreciation for it as I do, and hopefully this will be of interest to some folks. But in the meantime, I'd like to invite you all to enjoy the first of several videos of the Sega Genesis version of Mercs, and in the meantime, may all your questions have answers. Take care, until we game again. Oh, I'm very sorry about that, Misfit Kitten. So, as you can see, this is Mercs. Originally in the arcade, brought to the Sega Genesis, they did two different modes. Arcade is arcade, essentially. Original has some like RPG elements in it. It also has more stages and some new bosses and characters. I'm not going to do both, obviously. At some point I'll show off original mode. For right now, let's set our options. Arcade, level normal, shot and mega crash, rapid fire included in this. I definitely am glad for that. Well, I'm glad to hear, read that people seem to have at least forgotten about it, if not completely put it behind them. That's always good in a situation where you have lots of people in a small space and there are large knives about. So glad that worked out okay. And Misfit, I'm sorry that you have to deal with that situation. That sounds all too familiar. Hopefully one day it will not. The former President of the United States was taken hostage by a group of revolutionaries. Due to diplomatic reasons, the U.S. government cannot send military intervention. Instead, an elite corps of mercenaries known as the Mercs have been selected to rescue the president and stop the rebels' attempt to take control of the country, Zutura. As a member of the Mercs, your mission awaits. So, a few interesting things right off the bat. I don't remember exactly which year this was, but it says that a former president had been taken hostage. I think this was sometime in the early 90s, and the president at the end looks more like George W. Bush, but he would have not been a former president at that point. So my best guess is probably Jimmy Carter. Or they just wanted to not have anybody identifiable. Which is kind of odd because, you know, bad dudes got away with having Ronald Reagan kidnapped by ninjas. So I don't see why Capcom was wussing out. But anyway, you're seeing how things go here. Shoot a lot of guys. And we are already at our first level boss, the Harrier Jet. And not sneaking in. It doesn't do much other than fly around and fire at you with the Gatling guns, and sometimes it doesn't even fire at all. This really is not that big a threat at all. As long as you don't stand in front of it for any length of time. Like so. Landing mission successful. Time to move in. Let me pause 1 second because I need to double check the controller options I set. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go through it, and if I screw it up, I screw it up. I don't want to make you all wait for my ineptitude. Anyway, this is one of the things I really love about Mercs. For those who remember playing G.I. Joe, I love it when things blow up a lot. And power up here so you get a little stronger rifle, and I'm going to grab the flamethrower and start barbecuing people. Look how they just dropped to their knees. And I'm immediately going to switch it off to the shotgun here, because the shotgun is the business. This is excellent. It gets really wide later, and it gets to large size pellets as opposed to variable size. And you can use vehicles in Mercs, where you see enter, you can jump in and commandeer them for yourself. That one has a rocket grenade launcher, which will send people flying. Pretty powerful, so it's also good use against vehicles. Like that tower and the tank, or in the Jeep there, rather. I said tank because we are going to have tanks here. Oh dear God, are we going to have tanks? These are probably the most troublesome enemies in the entirety of Mercs. Yep, crepe turkey. The tanks, as you can see, fire their cannon projectiles very quickly. They hurt like hell. And they also have a very nasty ability to hit odd angles. If you do a little bit off, if you are a little bit off, it will just blast the hell out of you. I have to risk the tank taking a shot at me to get the meds there, and I completely waste it by going too close. Honestly, your biggest enemy in this level is time. And that. I have had many an occasion where I have played it safe against the tanks and nailed it every time, and then lost out of time before I got to the boss. And sometimes these guys glitch out. I'm glad they didn't this time. I like this boss music. Come on, don't be shy. You can get some hits on some bosses before they start doing anything. I don't really know if it counts against their life. And this gets difficult once it starts moving back and forward, because you have the occasional fire jets, and it's not always easy to trigger them when you want. And sometimes it's best just to get in there and blast the hell out of it. Almost as good as a jar of meat, yeah. And Goober Slot, yeah, the best I can equate it to is a shotgun, because shotguns in video games always end up having that spread. So, enemy tank line broken. Yep, so was I. Merry Christmas, Super Pervert! Nice to know you're ahead of the game. Welcome in. So, a little about this game that I didn't get a chance to say before. This is something I didn't actually know for a long time. Mercs is actually the sequel to another Capcom game, Commando. But the home version here is only single player, and this is not Super Joe. Super Joe does appear in the arcade version of Mercs. There are 3 total people in. This guy's name is Thomas Clark. There's a guy in red named Howard Powell. And then Super Joe appears dressed in yellow for some ungodly known reason. Joseph Gibson is his actual name. It's a 3-player cabinet, so you have a center console, or you have a center set of joystick and buttons, and you have a, and then you have ones on either side, and for some reason, he's in the center, the yellow one. Joseph here is on the left, and Howard's on the right, but I have no idea if Super Joe is really meant to be the default character, because typically the one player is the one on the left. It's also very strange why, if they only had to choose one, they didn't give it to Joe as the default. I guess he figured he needed a break after being completely invincible after being rescued in Bionic Commando. Yeah, for those who don't remember Bionic Commando on the NES, he was the hostage, and then as soon as Nathan Spencer freed him, he suddenly remembered, oh right, badass, and started decimating the army on his own. You know, apparently he just forgot that, you know, he was, you know, Mary Sue Commando. Didn't even intend that as a pun. I did also look up the Japanese name for this, but I do not recall it. It was something like Wolf Battle, or something like that. This is probably my favorite run-and-gun shooter of all time, as you can tell. G.I. Joe in arcade runs a close second. And I do also like a couple of the games in the Contra series, but this is definitely #1 on my list. And we are coming up on a boss I effing hate. I hate this boss. A Hind D? What's a Russian gunship doing here? It's trying to kill you is what it's doing. And it is likely it will do a very good job of it because this thing is very hard. Biggest problem is you've got guns that you can't do anything about really, between the chin gun and the tail guns. You can destroy the rockets from the wings, but it's very hard to maneuver around everything else to make that happen. And then on top of that, you have to worry about the whole chopper itself coming in and trying to run over you with the geez, I am doing terrible. Bashing into you with its nose cone or sweeping you with its wings. So apparently the Hind D is Cobra Kai. But if you get the right place, you can manage it okay, but getting the right place is problematic. You don't have much special attack unit Scorpion neutralized. We have found Scorpion and canceled it after 4 seasons. Okay, I do need to check something because I am going to need save states. That much has become clear to me. So again, bear with me, folks. My apologies. Okay, let me try something now. Still giving me an error. Yeah, I'm having an error for some reason getting the states to save where I want them to. Wait a minute, I got an idea. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I just figured it out. No, I made a stupid mistake, as I often do with these emulators. I just corrected the main letter, and I never actually applied it. So yeah, screwy me. Okay, so I got it now at this point. Okay, we're good. Okay. So we go into the swamp here at the start of stage 4, and we're about to introduce the most annoying enemy in the entire fucking game, those guys. The goddamn divers. These guys carry clip knives, and obviously because they're in dive suits, they move a lot faster than you do in the water, and their knives hurt like a bitch. I'm pretty damn sure their knives hurt worse than getting hit with a grenade. Fortunately, that is the only place they ever appear. So we are now frogmen free. This level in general is kind of a pain in the ass, because for most of it you're moving so slowly. It's made up for the fact that the boss is pretty much a cakewalk. Famous last words, I know, but... And that part gets irritating when the rocket launcher people show up. Fortunately, they can be gotten rid of pretty easily, and the torpedoes from the other boats can be blown away. Yeah, I do not want that grenade launcher. At some point, I'll demo it when the stakes aren't quite so high, but right before a boss, no. It basically does the same thing as the Jeep's weapon, but it's shorter range. And we have the boss, which is the gunboat, and despite that massive cannon and despite the 2 mortars, this thing is easy. The mortars are pretty easy to avoid because they're going to be firing at where you were a few seconds ago. So as long as you are on the move, you are safe. Mostly. It's still possible for them to peg you, but it's very unlikely if you are continuously in motion. And once it's down to that, well, I'm not going to say it's impossible to get hit, not to get hit, but it's unlikely as long as you're continuously moving. Largely because the flamethrower telegraphs itself so much. And largely because it spends so much time having to start and stop again. Welcome back, Misfit Kitten. Mountain pass penetrated. Neutralize enemy HQ. And no, you know what we mean by penetrated. Get your mind out of the gutter. So we start getting a couple of new enemies in this area, and they're new vehicle types. First off, we get tanks coming in diagonally. Doesn't change what they do at all. Doesn't change how much they hurt either. Also doesn't change how annoying they are or how long they take to destroy. God, I hate the tanks. I know I said the frogmen were the most annoying enemy. I should probably take that back because the frogmen only exist in one place. The tanks will show up every goddamn place. I'm just going to demo the grenade launcher since it's right here. Terrible. Don't like it. And I got a tank of my own, motherfuckers. I got a tank. Your argument is invalid. And we have a troop transport here, but that was no match for my fucking tank. Another thing I like about this is whenever you hit something, it has that splash fire that hits a lot of other things around it. And you heard me bragging about my tank, didn't you? This looks worse than it is as I die. Yeah, like I was saying, this looks worse than it is because it's actually pretty easy to get around the mines. There you go. The biggest threat right there are the guys with the rocket launchers. And I was trying not to pick up the flamethrower there and not blow up the fountain because why not? Oh, you don't take any damage, by the way, when the vehicle explodes. Cooper Slot, I think we've been on similar chats for long enough, we probably know. And some more of the missile-launching armored trucks. In original mode, they actually have a couple of really annoying ones. One of which is an armored truck that fires lasers forward, or not lasers, it fires missiles forward. Another fires rockets up in the air to come down, and another fires rockets filled with toxic gas. And holy God, I hate this part. I hate this boss with every fiber of my being. You're going to see why very shortly. No. Yeah, one penny on the track would solve a lot of problems here, definitely. Or just get an Amtrak engineer if need be. Yes, this is the boss. It's going to take forever to deal with this boss. This boss is guaranteed to hurt us a lot. This boss has a ton of crap to destroy. Yeah, and I also wonder how it's moving from track to track. That's the part I hate the most. How many continues do I have left? Yeah, I'm just gonna... So you can destroy the incoming missiles, at least you got that going for you. Your biggest worry, honestly, once you do that, are the flame jets on the side, because once you trigger those, as you can see, they will go all the way out to where the end of the platform is, and they will give you very little room to maneuver around them. Sometimes if I'm really low on health and I'm not cheating like this, I'll simply just point towards the right and just mega crash the rockets as they come in. But, yep. Enemy supply line destroyed. Mission accomplished. No, it isn't, because that wasn't your mission, dipshit. You were supposed to go in there and get the president. A former president has been kidnapped. We need you to go in and make sure they can't get K rations. There's no point in destroying the towers there, except it gives me joy. This does not give me joy, because the one thing a tank didn't need is rocket launcher assholes assisting it. And the second thing we didn't need is that happening again. These guys are just, these guys are just being mean at this point. Oh, and you notice they'll still come in even if you pass the area, they'll just run away. None of them think to turn around and try to shoot you in the ass. Which, is sporting, but stupid. It's war, Fuck it. You clearly are not here to be nice, or you wouldn't have done the flanking with the tanks in the first place. Carter is in Jimmy Carter or Carter Pewterschmidt. And more bullshit flamethrowers. If you're quick enough, it is actually possible to destroy these. And you definitely want to destroy these, otherwise they're just going to clip you off the platform. Oh, I forget who it was that was wondering about the shotgun / pellet gun, whatever. At this point, I have that up to full power, so that's what that looks like. There's actually nothing inside those rooms in this mode. In the original mode, there's actually... in the original mode, actually, there are a couple of... there are rooms you can go into that are... Oh, screw you. Okay, I'm definitely have to save state now. There are rooms you can go into that are basically rebel black markets, for lack of a better term. And most of the time they're in tents, but there is a hidden one in one of those areas. And good thing about having the spread, I can get both from there. I don't know what the hell these things are, but you just have to hope to destroy them fast enough. Could be. Well, which begs the question, what utility? Utility in the sense of serving a purpose, or utility in the sense of, hi, we're here to fix your plumbing? Okay, these things are cool. There is no reason they would ever hit you. If they do, you're just being stupid. But I like the fact that they just park a plane there and stick a laser in the nose cone and just meep. And, you know, I feel compelled to destroy everything because they blow up so nice. Like seriously, it wouldn't be bad tactics to scramble those things and try to just, you know, drop some bombs on me at this point. You know, even if it would cause collateral damage. You know, why the hell not? Okay, boss here. I usually try to mega crash this thing to death, but I don't have enough to do that. Okay. Should be zagging there. As you can see, you can do that up to 5 times in a row. And it can really screw me over. It doesn't really matter where you are here because, much like the mortars on the warship, it's going to aim at where you were. This can be fairly complicated to deal with if you're not lucky, so, and also if you're not fast enough, which is, god damn it, which is why I usually try to just mega crash this thing to death. And the thing is, this is the second to last boss. So if you don't have the mega crash, this is one of those circumstances where you die. Yeah, bring me a cup too, would you? But yeah, this is one of those circumstances where, god damn it. Things can go pear-shaped pretty quickly. Flick my deck. Well, this ain't going well. God damn it. Was there something I said? Giant missile machine of death? Yeah, the original mode is a lot longer. I figured the arcade mode would give people a good idea. And eventually when video time comes around, I'm going to play both modes. Oh, man. Oh my god, really? Is this going to work? Well, it worked for a while. Oh my god, I can't believe that worked. I have never tried that before. I can't believe just pacing back and forth worked. Well, I now have 3 mega crashes. That's important. We have received information that the leader of the Revolutionary Corps is using the former president in an attempt to free the country in a Hercules transport, intercept the flight of the Hercules, and rescue the former president. So this is the last boss, and you've got stuff firing at you. The whole point here is to do enough damage to the Hercules before it takes off. And as you can see, we got a pretty good spot to shoot from there. New old guns will still track even after it's been hit. But that's that. It still kind of amazes me that Super Joe didn't even show up in the home version of his own game, and he wasn't even the default main character. In March of 19XX, the former president was rescued by the Mercs. However, no official record about a Mercs operation will ever be registered. And as the credits roll, this reminds me of the other interesting thing about this game. This came out in 1990, as I said, in the arcade, and I believe the Genesis version was either the same year or a year or two after. This was released under Sega's name, even though Capcom does appear listed in the credits. Now, that seems strange until you remember that a few other games did that too. Forgotten Worlds, Strider, and Ghouls and Ghosts. There may have been one other one I'm forgetting at the moment, but all of those were produced by Capcom. Sega published them, and I think Capcom actually handled the translation to the Genesis. It's not really explained exactly why this was done, but my theory, Nintendo of America was very strict about its third-party publishing in the NES days. There were a couple of things that were pretty draconian, like you had to buy the chips from Nintendo. You could only publish 5 games a year unless you had permission, and in that case you used a second license to do your other games, which is why Konami had Ultra and Acclaim had LJN and so on and so forth. Hello, Justin! The third rule, if you had a game published on the NES, you could not publish it on another system for a period of, I believe 2 years. Now, the only one that would have actually affected was Strider. And even then, it was a whole different game. It was not the arcade game. But my best guess is that Capcom decided with this and some of the other games to just try to do it on the download and to keep peace with Capcom, especially considering they had the Disney deal going at the time, and that was making them shitloads of money. So they definitely didn't want to piss off Nintendo and lose that revenue. But I don't know if that's for certain the reason, but that's my best guess. But in any case, that's the arcade version of Mercs. And Session Diva, hello! The original version is much longer, more elaborate, has more characters in it, some new weapons, new bosses, has the shop system, and just pretty cool overall. Like I said on the video of Mercs that I will do eventually, you know, my attention span willing, that is going to be shown. So, Mercs and all our armed forces on this Thanksgiving Day, we salute you.